Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
Mark it on your calendars. It's a rare win for gamers. Apparently, Shift Up has patched Stellar Blade, and the uncensored versions of the costumes are there. They're available for play. This is after there was a lot of controversy around the fact that they censored the costumes and they told people they weren't going to censor the game. And then people thought Sony put pressure on them to censor the game. And then game journos were delighted that gamers were angry because, you know, and that's what this whole thing comes down to. Game journos lost again, and they're furious about it. But I think these companies are starting to realize that game journos are not the gatekeepers, are not the tastemakers.
A lot of times they don't even play it.
So we went out to Alyssa Mercante from Kotaku, and I don't think she's said much about it. She just retweeted Kotaku's article, Seething, about it. And yeah, I think everything is changing, guys. I think everything is changing. I think these companies, which are very desperate, most of these studios are very, very desperate, they're going to start listening to their actual consumers. And I think that what happened for a good part of a decade was that we had a lot of journalists, not just in video games, but in comic books and movies and all this the geekosphere, claiming to speak for fans, claiming to speak for gamers and comic book fans and movie fans and all that, and whispering in the ears of these studios. And then the studios would listen to the journalists or the influencers, and then they would lead them down the wrong path, and they would lead them down a path to destruction, financial ruin.
Trick them into doing an interview and then, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Kotaku tricked the one guy who was working on that farm sim into doing an interview because he was making jokes about jiggle physics, and then use it to blindside him and try to damage his business, right? So the game journos are not your friends, studios. So we're going to talk about the seething here. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo. Sorry, I was very sad. I saw that when you were on the last page. I saw that Kabosu passed away.
Oh, I didn't know.
That's the meme dog.
Oh, the meme dog. Oh my God, I didn't know the name of the dog.
I'm very sad.
Oh no, the meme dog. But 18, that's pretty good.
I know, but I'm still sad. Anyway,
but 18's good.
I know it is, but I'm still sad. Anyway,
okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Continue.
Now, we don't have as many boobies in this comic, but if you want to back, second chance offer to get Shadowbinders Volume 3 before it closes out. And also, we're going to try to reprint 1 and 2. We're completely sold out of those books. Are all spoken for. This will actually be our second reprinting, I think, of these books. Like we blew through 1, 2. Yeah. God, this will be our second reprinting of these books, or third printing of these books. But if you guys want to get in on that, you've got a couple of weeks to do so on Indiegogo. We're going out to Indiegogo because people ask for Indiegogo. They're like, we don't want to back through a website. We like Indiegogo. Plus,
supposedly they fixed it.
Supposedly they fixed it. We're going to give them another chance. But beyond that, like, we were having issues with international backers and stuff through the website. So there you go, guys. Go out to Indiegogo. Let's talk about this, because this is something that Grums has actually been spearheading, the Stellar Blade campaign. And what happened was, for those of you who don't know, this is a very bird's eye view because there's a lot of drama here, but Shift Up, the developer of this game, promised that there would be no censorship in Stellar Blade. Now, gaming journos have had a fit about this game since pretty much day one because it has an attractive female lead character, and you do spend a lot of time looking at her backside. Can't have that, right? Not current year.
You do know that girls like to play pretty characters too, right? And you do know that there are a lot of lesbians that play games who might appreciate boobies as well, right? You get that, right? Are you anti-LGBTQ people?
Lesbians like tits too.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's kind of a requirement, right? But then they were like, oh, this couldn't possibly be based on a real woman. It turned out it was actually based on a model. And so, yeah, it was based on a real woman. And then it was like, okay, well,
oh, right, because real women can't be pretty.
Real women can't be pretty. See, this is what is going on with they want more women in games, but they want unattractive women in games.
Real women, they mean looks like them.
Yeah, pretty much.
And some of them are debatable in the first place.
There's some high strangeness around characters that used to be more physically attractive like Lara Croft. There's definitely something going on with Lara Croft. They keep making sure she's been beaten with the ugly stick. We saw Mary Jane in Spider-Man, who is a model. Literally, Mary Jane is a model, and they changed her to look like one of the writers of the second Spider-Man game, right? And she looked like she was a middle-aged woman, but she is a model. She's like 23, 24 years old. So yeah, we can't have this. So this game is problematic. If this game came out 15 years ago, nobody would have thought anything of it. But because everything's changed so much. So yeah, gaming journals were rallying against it. And then they're like, ha ha, Sony censored the outfits and the chuds are mad. And lots of hit pieces written on it and the behavior of people on the internet. And I can't speak to the behavior of everybody. I mean,
I'm sure there are people who go too far.
I'm sure.
I have zero doubt of this.
But they made Grum's public enemy #1. And he said the whole time, in his defense, he said the whole time to be respectful, to tell Shift Up of why you have a problem with it, because gamers were promised they wouldn't make changes. The very first patch, they patched the game and they covered her up.
They patched the costume.
And they patched the holes in the costume. And they also took out, and this is something that I think Kotaku was behind too, they found some graffiti. It was the word hard, and it just happened to be juxtaposed with a sign that had an R on it, hard R, which most people wouldn't have thought anything of, but they're like, well, that's a racial slur. And I actually had to look it. I had to look it up because I'm old and I didn't.
I just asked the kids.
Like, what does
hard R? That's all I did. And they told me. And they're like, first they were like, oh, and I was like, what?
See, I was thinking hard R means boobies and blood because that's what it used to be back in the day. Like, RoboCop is a hard R movie because we got blood and boobs.
Not what it means now.
Not now. So they made them change it. And so the gaming journos are kind of delighting in sticking it to the chudge. Well, there was a petition, and Grums has been having conversations, I guess, with the developer of the game. And because everybody was respectful and they saw that people were not happy with it, they patched it and they changed it back. And I do believe it was Sony putting pressure on them because a lot of the changes were very similar to the changes with Final Fantasy games, where they would just put the black undershirt on the female characters. Yeah. And that was, Square abiding by Sony California's mandates, right? But yeah, the gaming journos are pissed off. So starting with Paul Tassi, who I have said for years, I always liked Paul Tassi, but lately he's been getting kind of weird. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. He's been getting you've always been kind of like Paul Tassi.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Whatever. But we get through this and he talks about the boss rush mode and the uncensored outfits. It starts out like, okay, here's kind of what happened. But by the time we get to the end of the article, you can tell he's pissed because as a gaming journo, he's like, you let the chuds win.
No, as a gaming journo, you didn't let me tell you what to think.
Right. So he talks about the first major patch. It has some significant new content. And it ends what was one of the most bizarre controversies at launch. It was not a bizarre controversy. They showed people the outfits. They promised them that it wouldn't be censored.
If they hadn't done that, then it would be a non-issue.
And then gaming journos gloated about the censorship. Like, well, it's not that big of a deal. And it's not that good of a game.
And if you wanted to see that, you're a terrible person.
You're a terrible person if you want to see tits.
And of course, you're all men.
So we get down to the very bottom. Uncensored outfits. Here we go. After months of complaints that Stellar Blade had been censored, presumably at Sony's behalf, which I agree because it looked very much like what Square did. In regard to two of Eve's outfits in particular, they ended the dispute. Shift Up maintained that the on-disc outfits were not the intended final outcome for those outfits, so the tiny amount of extra fabric added was not out of censorship concerns. It was just a design choice. No. That did not satisfy a particular crowd who maintained this was purposeful censorship, something they believe was demanded by Sony for release, despite there being no evidence that this was the case. This resulted in a free Stellar Blade hashtag social media campaign mostly focused on the outfits. Stellar Blade has released 2 outfits that are not patching or changing the old outfits, which look the same, but they're variants with the censored bits removed.
But I thought they weren't censored.
Well, he put it in quotes.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. Yeah, why would they have those then?
Yeah, they're very revealing in the pelvis and chest regions as apparently nature intended.
I don't see what they're revealing in the pelvis region.
We were talking before we started recording, and there are certain Hollywood celebrities that wear more revealing outfits.
That would wear that to the beach now. Like the other outfit looks more, I think, more like a bedroom attire type outfit, but something like that. I see people wearing swimsuits like that. You know what I mean? I personally wouldn't, because one, slip and they're going to fly out, but these are things that you see celebrities wearing worse than on, in magazines now.
Just wait till this comes out on PC. Just wait for the mods.
Yeah, I know,
You're
right?
going to see everything. So he said, I said when this was all unfolding that I figured Shift Up would eventually do something like this. They're changing the original outfits or doing what they're doing here. They are a company that is absolutely forthright about their intention to make sexy characters. And that was
the point.
The point was people are like, well, and they said, if they hadn't said, this is what we're going to do, and we promise we're not going to censor the game, and they told everybody they weren't going to censor the game, this would have been a controversy. If they just dropped the game, as is, nobody would have cared.
Noted or known that there was a different version.
Right.
I'm sorry, that didn't exist according to Peltassi.
Right. The bad part of this, here we go, guys. This is next to the last paragraph. The bad part of this is that the culture war folks here have been rewarded for their frankly ridiculous campaign attacking the game, the developers, Sony, everyone, for the original outfit changes as some sort of conspiracy which did not exist.
I'm sorry for what I see it did.
The outfits themselves are fine. Again, there are a dozen outfits, at least this revealing in the game, but this being a reward for this group and their behavior is not a great look.
Right, because you only can reward people like Tassie and his journalistic friends. Why do they care so much about people wanting sexy outfits on an unreal character, somebody who's not real? Why do they effing care so hard? Like, you're in trouble. See, that's it. They're getting mad at gamers. Like, it's not real. They're not real boobies. Why do you care? Why do you care on the other end? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
why are you? Because it's not about that. It's about you trying to tell everybody what they shouldn't think. Because you're a Journos. Because you went to journalism college. And because you're the tastemakers and you're the ones that are supposed to dictate what everybody thinks. And YouTubers are stepping over you.
Yes.
And you're pissed about it.
That's exactly what it is. And they've said as much. I did a video the other day talking about how salty these gaming journos are that they're getting laid off.
Where's the groin region problem? I'm not seeing it on either one.
The sensor, I'm sorry, the original outfit, this part right here was mesh that came down to here, and then they covered it up.
Again, that's no different than people wear now. It's a bodysuit or leotard. Yeah. Gymnasts wear stuff like that where it's high cuts. They have range of motion. I'm not understanding where as a woman, I'm looking at the groin area and I don't see any issue in the groin area at all. The boobies in the first one and the red one, honestly, there's a zipper there. So it looks like she chose to unzip it, but it looks like it can be zipped up higher. It looks like something people would actually wear now. And the other outfit looks like something people would wear too in certain situations. But it's not like, one you wear in public. But the red one definitely would be something people will wear in public.
Yeah, I've seen more revealing bathing suits at Disney World.
Yes, I have too. I've seen their bikinis were just like little teeny pieces of cloth, and they go out like that. Yeah. So I'm not understanding what the problem is. I mean, neither one of these are porn.
Well,
I'm just saying.
The problem is what you said. The problem is the gaming journos were laughing at. And we'll see the very first sentence here. It tells you everything. They were laughing at gamers for having a fit about this. But again, the issue wasn't the issue. The issue they're trying to make it out to be that is the gamers are a bunch of pervs and they just want titties, right? The issue is Shift Up said they were not going to censor the game, and almost immediately they censored the game.
Yeah, I get that. And then they're like, well, they didn't show anything to say that wasn't their original intention. I'm like, well, there had been something people were going on. They thought that it was censored. Yeah. And I saw the pictures with the cloth. It didn't look right. It looked like it didn't belong there.
All right. Stellar Blade is an excellent sci-fi action game. Yeah, they actually had to admit begrudgingly that the game was pretty okay. That a small, ill-defined number of unhinged gamers...
Can't be that small, can it?
It was thousands of people of unhinged gamers have latched on to as the latest front in a made-up culture war on boobies.
Again, somebody that's a normie, and I'm looking at this. Let's look at the sentence, okay? That it's ill-defined number of unhinged gamers, okay? Well, obviously it was a larger number than your vocal minority. They're saying that they were latching on and complaining, but from what I'm understanding was people that were, kind of behind it were telling people not to be. I'm not saying people, I'm sure people did get over the top, but they were told not to be. But it's not a culture war on boobies. It's a culture war on boobies, which would imply that there are two sides to the culture war. One side demanding that boobies be covered, and one side saying, well, why? And these aren't even that bad, saying like free the boobies. So I'm like, how is it any different? It's like the same coin, different side. Just as like you're the side on the, I don't think boobies should be out. And you're going to tell me because women, I'm a woman and I don't think either one of these things is terrible.
So there's some, and I didn't cover this on any of the channels, but there's some controversy around Hades 2. And Hades 2, they gave it a good review. It also had boobies, but the character looked more masculine.
So the flatter chest.
Yeah.
I'm just so tired of hearing about this. And it's like, and then they try to spin it that it's only one side that's being ridiculous, but they themselves are being, ridiculous themselves. Like there's only a culture war because you're inciting it.
So the issue is not the issue. The issue is not the boobies. The issue is the constant attacks on gamers and the constant unnecessary censorship. Most of the people buying these games are adults. They're adults.
And again, there are women who like the costumes too. And that's why I'm just getting tired. It's always, it's just men. And it's like you were completely marginalizing the women that you're claiming you're defending.
Oh, God. Yeah, proponents of the Free Stellar Blade petition. Wait, I thought we couldn't give a number to that because I can show you exactly how many people were upset about this.
Well, that signed it. There's probably more than that.
So just going out to the petition here is 91,237 people signed today. So that gives you an idea that there's at least 100,000 people that are pissed off about it. But notice how they call Mark Kern, who was at the ground floor of World of Warcraft, by the way, online angry gamer grifter.
That's what gets me too.
Online angry gamer grifter.
If you don't agree with them, you're a grifter. Meanwhile, they do the exact same damn thing. But when they do it, it's okay. That's just the truth.
Oh, God. Online angry gamer grifter. Oh, this is the guy that supposedly...
I don't even know what the fuck grifter means.
No. Oh, okay. He blocked his account. This is the guy, apparently, Nick Calandra, who doxed him.
Oh, is that who that is?
Yeah, so we're doxing people over boobies now, guys. That's where we're at. But basically, look, the gaming journals are pissed off because they've been railing against this game. The developer caved to the customers, the paying customers. Same with Helldivers, they caved to the paying customers.
And it was one of these journos, right, that were doxing people.
Yes.
And then they're going about bad behavior towards them as they dox people.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what this is about. Again, it's not what...
It's about control. It's what the whole thing's about is control.
What people are saying or what the gaming journals are saying it's about and what it's actually about are two different things. Gaming journals don't speak for the majority of gamers.
Which is why no one's reading their blogs and why their damn blogs are shutting down.
Why the blogs are shutting down, why nobody's supporting them, why people are supporting grifters like Mark Kern and watching YouTubers is because these people still have their fingers on the pulse of where most gamers are. And you've spent the last 10 years being able to insult and attack gamers. Not everybody, but a lot of them, especially sites like Kotaku, they've spent the last 10 years being able to attack and insult gamers because there's lots of free money. They didn't really have to pull their own weight. And these game developers thought that they were speaking for gamers because
it's like that little bitchy kid that runs around with a bodyguard and then deliberately does things to people and like trips them or pushes into them so that they can't do anything to him because the bodyguard will beat them up. It's like that, except now
what
the bodyguard.
What school did you go to?
And, no, it's some YouTuber. It's some kid. This little shit. And he goes around with bodyguards and he does like really shitty things to people who are just standing there. Like he'll run into them or step on them or whatever.
Oh my God.
And then you can't do anything because the bodyguards will beat you up. They'll step in between you and him like they're going to beat you up. Except it's like that, except now the bodyguards are gone.
Oh my God.
They thought they could just say and do whatever. Ha ha, the money's going to protect us. We don't have to actually deliver views. We can just sit on our little pedestal and say whatever the hell we want. And now the bodyguards are gone.
Yeah. Pretty much the bodyguards were the venture capitalists that were propping up these sites. The bodyguards were, it was for the longest time Google that would send traffic to your site. Now it doesn't. So yeah, you don't have any protection. Now you're going to have to deal with the gamers. And some of these journalists will transition to being YouTubers or podcasters or whatever, but most of them have made it pretty clear that they actually are disgusted by gamers. They're disgusted by backlash against these companies. A lot of cases, the gamer...
Go play Animal Crossing.
Go play Animal Crossing, yeah. Yeah, well, they were mad about that. There were people that were mad about Animal Crossing and
with the hairstyles,
cultural appropriation. They were mad at Nintendo because Nintendo wouldn't do what they wanted, and Nintendo's actually been kind of getting into politics more than they used to. But
because they're listening to these dipshits.
Well, that's it. They're listening to these people. Then some of these people actually wind up working, like Sweet Baby Inc. or whatever. They're working with them or their friends. They're all kind of interconnected, right? So, yeah, this is a very deep rabbit hole. But basically, you can trace the infiltration of the AAA gaming space back to the change, I think, in gaming journalism and a lot of activists getting involved in that and then getting themselves or helping promote people to get them into actual game development, even as, sensitivity readers or whatever. And then you can kind of see the collapse of that whole thing. I mean, it's all interconnected. It really is all interconnected. And basically we have
it's all blowing up.
It's all blowing up now. All at once. It's all the studios are shutting down, right? Mm-hmm. And all the blogs are shutting down. And now it's going to be the studio and even E3 shut down. Like there's not going to be any more E3. So basically these studios are going to have to deal with gamers directly. They're not going to have, somebody running interference, which is probably good because now they're going to actually realize like, oh, this is what gamers actually want.
Well, you're going to be told what you want, not have the journalists tell them, oh, this is what you really should do.
Right. You don't have your interpreters.
Them and you lost money, so I don't want to tell you. Should just ask gamers to begin with.
It's kind of like, anime translators or localizers, right? They've been basically taking in what was going on with gamers in the gaming scene and then parsing it, changing things, changing the story, and then putting out articles that the studios are probably reading, being like, well, this must be what gamers want because this is a gaming blog and they've got their fingers on the pulse of not realizing that they're filtering all of that and they're changing what people are actually saying. And you know what I'm saying? Because if you're busy making games, you're not going to be looking at what everybody's saying on Twitter. You're going to look at some of the headlines and be like, oh, okay, well, gamers want this. So they want more LGBTQ? Yeah, okay, fine, we can do it. Oh, they're complaining that Lara Croft's ass is too juicy? Yeah, we can't do that then. Oh, it's colonialism to raid tombs. Maybe we should change that, And it's over now. Now you're going to have to deal with the gamers, which is going to be really interesting to see how that works out. But that's how it used to be back in the day, right? We're going to wrap it up?
Yeah.
Let's wrap this up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.